I have to admit, everyone, I was sitting here about 15 minutes before I went live going, am I really going to stream today? Am I really? Am I really going to do this? Yeah, I had a busy day at PAX East yesterday in downtown Boston. And I was up until the wee hours of the morning, thanks to our lovely community meetup that took place at PAX East at the Harpoon Brewery. If my voice is a little different, it's because I was talking in a loud room all night after talking in a loud convention center all day. And there we go. So I wasn't sure. I was like, oh my gosh, am I really going to be able to do this? But I do have work I have to do today. So I was like, well, I'll probably end up not doing the one on the other game side at 4, but at noon here today, I'm awake-ish enough, kind of, barely. Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. I'm your community manager, Kurt Oven, with you for the next hour with some news. We'll talk a little bit about the party last night. There was a big party, IRL. And we're going to be continuing questing with the Song of Waves and Wind. I'm on chapter 8.3, and we'll do a little bit of that after we get to the news here today. I will also welcome Convaleria, SSG Dev. Yeah, we had it was all 4 games between Darkpaw Games and Standing Stone Games that had our community meetup from 7 to 11 p.m. last night at the Harpoon Brewery in downtown Boston next to PAX East, which is the big 4-day convention happening at the Boston Convention Center this year. And we had about 300 people there. We maxed out. We actually did, in fact, max out our RSVPs and max out our venue size. But we didn't have a waiting line that I was aware of. There was a little bit of a line getting in. It took people a little while to get into the venue because we had to check people off the list and all that sort of thing. But we had food, we had fun, we had all sorts of players, we had swag that we gave away, and it was a really, really good time. So thanks everyone who showed up. It was really cool. The funniest Lotro anecdote I have from the meetup is I was just kind of going around the tables for DDO and Lotro people and just saying hello and answering any questions and, whatever, socializing. And I went up to a group of folks who were sitting at one of the tables, and they were like, are there any Lotro developers there? Like, they wanted to chat with the Lotro, not that they thought I was chopped liver or anything, but they're like, can we talk to a Lotro dev? And the funny thing is, they were literally sitting next to one. So I was able to be like, yes, see this person off to your right? That's Vastin. And that was fun. That was really fun. So that was very cool. That was probably one of the memories I'll take from that player meetup last night. So it was a really good time. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Inside of the game, we've got a lot happening as well. The Spring Festival continues through April 1st. We had a game update this week, and we have a game update next week. I don't have the release notes that I can put up on the screen for you at the moment for update 39.1.1, currently targeted for release on Wednesday, March 27th, but I can go through some of the notes that I do have in an internal staging document verbally here and get you a sense of what we have going on with 31.1.1. This is a bug fix patch for the Arenas of Conflict update 31. We had update 39.1 go out this week, and you can find those release notes on Lotra.com. If we need to talk about them, we will. But here's what is tentatively set for next Wednesday's patch. We fixed an issue where Mariners were not able to complete the instance The Bounty Hunter in Evendim. Sorry, that one took a while to finally get fixed, but it will be fixed as of Wednesday. One of the nicer releases in the release notes for next week is that now that the Depths of Mokta Corbo has been released and is opening up to its higher tiers, we're able to update the Delving rewards. So, again, all this is somewhat tentative until we actually go live with the downtime and release notes next week, but the plan is to update the Delving rewards next week. They'll be able to drop a greater range of rewards for level 150 players, including incomparable armor and rare crafting ingredients. Delving Barter NPCs have been updated too, and they'll let you barter for level 150 equipment and other endgame rewards. So that's been a long time coming, and we're happy to be able to do that. If you completed the update 39, if you completed the Depths of Mokta Corvo Tier 1 prior to update 39.1, we will retroactively be awarding you your proper title of the Shadow Chaser. That's in next week's patch as well. The final boss chests in the Umbar instances in Raid will now have a greater chance to drop a Seafarer's Flickering Essence box or a Seafarer's Essence box. And then we have a bunch of polish and adjustments to the instances themselves. So in the streets of Rahal Bak, players will no longer be able to resist the Ichor effect, which is a good thing because it left you immobilized without a way to remove it. The Curse of Range max range debuff has been reduced from -20 to -15. That'll prevent it from fully locking Yellow Line Runekeepers from using their lightning skills. In the Depths of Mokta Corvo, we're doing some work related to the final boss fight there. I'll let you just read the notes next week. We're changing some of the way, like the likelihood of 2 crushing tentacles spawning during the head-up phase of Boss 3 is being reduced on tiers 1 to 3. Things like that. We got some kind of polish going in there. When Belandor or his crew triggers the fight reset on Tier 1, there was a condition that required a player to return to the other side of the arena to trigger the drama. This could cause the fight to get interrupted by the intro drama during the combat. We're fixing that next week as well. And Belandor will now spawn in their post-drama locations. For the Isle of Storms, Vengeful Mariners could still appear with Scion buffs in the 3-person version of the instance. We'll be fixing that. And we're working on the tracking of the Deadly Cyclone against the Rock's main target as well. In the arena, the Heartseeker bleed potency is being reduced. Slam will now deal less damage and follow a chat call out. This is from the enemies there. Inferno will have a chat call out. Stagger will last 3 seconds per tier. Nakrov will no longer chain his horn abilities one after the other. And Persistent Flame will no longer suggest it's a removable wound effect on tiers 1 to 5. Tiers 6 to 10 are tagged as removable wounds, so you can always actively reduce the Persistent Flame to tier 5. We have a few pretty minor fixes really in the Umbar equipment set bonuses, and for Brawler, Fist of the Valar will correctly benefit from the crit chance bonus applied by Pummel from the Armor of Concussion set bonus. And a couple of notes for Burglar. The Mischief Maker specialization will now correctly spell out that Startling Twist gains the Minor Rent Armor effect, and Minor Rent Armor will now use the Startling Twist icon and not be suppressed by Major Rent Armor. That's what we currently have in our release notes that are not even really put into proper documentation yet, but that's sort of our hit list that we're working on for next Wednesday's patch, which will be update 39.1.1. How many Sailing Sun devs cross over to DDO? Over the years, we've had, I guess I would say, a trickle. It happens, where developers are working on one game for a while, then they'll work on a different game for a while. There are some developers, clearly like folks like Orion, Made Alliance, who have been with the game, and many of our devs are with the game long term. But it is possible, and it has happened over the years, that we've had a developer work on one game for a while, then move to the other game. Sometimes it's due to need for additional people to do work, and sometimes it's really just developers have passion for different games and things, and decide, hey, I want to work on this one for a while. So it does happen. And then we've got a team inside of the office that works on both games, which I think people are well aware of. Folks like myself, the art team, and marketing in general. So there's some crossover positions there. And that was a question from chat. Otherwise, I would just quick mention, what else do we got on our radar? Okay, so this is not this weekend, but it's the following weekend on Sunday. We have a pretty unusual bonus that's going to be kicking off next Sunday, a week from Sunday, for April Fool's Day. We're bringing back that April Fool's Chicken Run. If you remember last year, we did a special Friday live stream, which was a lot of fun, of us just sort of surprising people with the Chicken Run. We brought it back for April Fool's, but now it's back. I don't know if it's back permanently, but as long as people are enjoying it and we're having fun doing it, it probably will be. And that's going to debut at 10 a.m. Eastern on March 31st. So Sunday, March 31st, 10 a.m. Eastern, the April Fool's Chicken Run will kick off, and that is going to go until 3 a.m. Eastern on April 2nd. So it's really an April 1st thing, which is a Monday this year. But what a Monday it's going to be, huh? So want to make sure I let you know about that. We did mention the Spring Festival is available through April 1st. We have a bonus days of 25% XP, and that's through the 24th of March here. That's through this Sunday. The other bit of news, and let me go real quick, put that on the screen since I got me some images. I think it's this. I'm always a little nervous when I swap scenes before I've actually checked them. Because I didn't check it from last week. Alright. Yes, we have updated rewards for our loot boxes, and quite a bit of this stuff is available with Myrtle Mint as well. The Figments of Splendor vendor. Figments of Splendor vendor. Figments of Splendor... Yeah, okay. You can find out more information on Lotra.com. We've got the Steed of the Silent Hunter, the Tome of the Sataka. I think something a little bit like a serval. Added to loot boxes, also available for Myrtle Mint, is that tome, is the Steed, the War Steed, pelt, tapestry, boots, gloves, mantle, and tunic. And then loot box only, we've got the Seti, the Garden Perch, the Cloak, the Hooded Cloak, and the Mask. And I think we have every images of all this stuff, except... I don't think we have the mask, do we? Oh, no, there we go. It's right there. Okay. So that kicked off this week here as well. Alright, I think I've gone through everything I need to go through. Well, so we did have an update this week, so make sure you look at the release notes if you have not. Alright, let me get to chat and then get inside of the game here. Is this the first cat-themed outfit in Deco, barring the Sabertooth trophy? Gosh, it's hard when you get looking at cosmetics and history, because we've done so much over the years, but I think so. Hunter Buff, BC304 Daedalus asks on Twitch. I've seen the thread on the Lotra forums asking us to buff Hunter. I guess in the new raid and everything, hunters are finding themselves in a somewhat rare position of perhaps needing some DPS. So we'll take a look at that as a team and see if something needs to be done there. I hear the hunters are having a rough time of it, based on that forum thread I read this morning. So I am running 8.3 of the Song of Waves and Wind, and I am speaking to residents in the lower ward of Umbar.
Keep your voice down, stranger. There are unfriendly ears about.
And we're kind of looking for our enemies, Azgath, Sea Shadow, and others. Come back later, he says. Alright. I am talking to NPCs at the moment. I think it might be kind of fun to just talk a little bit about PAX East itself. It is running through the weekend. If you're going to be attending, that's awesome. If you're not, well, here's kind of what you're not seeing. So the convention center itself was pretty I got to spend most of the day yesterday
Never heard anything of late concerning
actually
Red of the Coin.
slacking off
Not really. I have been busy.
and taking advantage of the fact that I work in the games industry in Boston. I actually did have work yesterday. I was the equipment hauler, so I had my car full of swag and gear for both the EverQuest panel presentation at PAX and the Dungeons & Dragons Online panel presentation at PAX. I had to haul out all that stuff in my car and then all the stuff for the player meetup. But I was really just at PAX on Thursday for the player meetup to do setup starting at around, 5 o'clock-ish and then go through the meetup. I didn't get home till, about 1 o'clock in the morning. If we heard anything of the Kindred of the Coins, I have not paid much attention to their dealings in recent days, so I've been occupied with caring for my friend. Alright, and it sounds like we'll be kind of heading back to them at some point here in the near future.
Is it too much to ask for a
That
moment
is
of
actually
peace?
not. So okay, where is my last oh, back up north. Okay. Let me go up north a bit and find that last NPC. It was a chill day at the convention. So I've been to PAX East quite a few years now. This will probably be maybe close to my 10th PAX, if something like that. And Thursday is kind of the day to go, in my opinion, because all the vendors and employees and all the studios and everything are still feeling fairly fresh and excited. It's a lot of work being on a convention floor for 4 days. And it gets so crowded on like Friday, Saturday of PAX that it can be overwhelming. Thursday is the day to go to PAX, if you can do it. A lot of people have to work, right? That's why they don't... It's maybe the crowds are a little less on Thursday. But the crowds are a little less on Thursday. And it's nice and chill, and you can just go all through the exhibit hall and get everything you want and see most, if not all, of the things. It's a great day, and it was a really good PAX this year. It's going to be a really fun weekend. A well-dressed man in blue and silver, making for one of the north-south piers extending out into the waters of the Sailhaven. Okay. Ever since COVID, I've seen a little bit of a shift in... Oh, not that pier, though. Okay. In the size of PAX, right? It is a little smaller than it was pre-COVID. Not that it's still not huge and exciting and fun and tons to do and everything, but it was really bursting at the seams really prior to COVID, and things are down a little bit. So it's... In some ways it makes for a nicer convention, though, because you can see things easier, and it's a little more manageable. You don't get peopled out quite so easy, although it could still happen, but it was nice. Saw some cool studios. Not that anyone cares about my opinion, but I want to give a quick shout out to Larian, the studio there that do the Baldur's Gate 3. And they had maybe the coolest looking booth of PAX. IMO. It's real good. It's real good. Where am I going? Am I going this way? Yes. And the food trucks were good. They had really good food. It was convention priced, but it was good. So there was a thought that I was going to be at the convention today, but instead I think I'm going to go tomorrow. So that's part of why I'm streaming today. And then also, like I said at the start of the show, I actually do have some work I have to do today. I gotta get going on some of those release notes and schedule social media and do follow-up from the PAX stuff that we did yesterday. And so I did since I had to work. But there's actually a thing I'm doing tonight. Not for Lotro, though. Yeah, I mean, you get like a sandwich for $15 to $20 is what I mean on a convention price.
Stranger.
It was good.
There.
It was $15. It was about yay big. There's cruelty in the Sea Shadow as there was cruelty in all of us, but I thought it was needed against the evils against us. The Church of the All-Seeing, the Empire of Ordok, these were the foes which we could show no mercy. Hatred I bore for Gondor. I would not show mercy to any warriors of Gondor who opposed us, but not kids. The boy Thorngil was not yet a man, and Azagoth would have drenched the stones of the citadel with his blood. Nikasi would have obeyed the command and done whatever the Sea Shadow ordered. The writing was there, but even when I followed the two of them as they fled, or even then I followed them. In the depths of Mokta Korbo, my crew paid for my inaction, my indecision. Azagoth slew them with dark, unnatural magic, and their sacrifice meant nothing. Do you have a crew of your own, stranger? Do you know what it means to lose them all, and for nothing?
What brings you to this city, stranger? I deem you have sought me out. Why?
I tell him we've come to Umbar in the company of his old friend Sirgun. It's been many years since I named Sirgun a friend, and it must be the same with he who is the Lord of Lebanon. Was he rewarded for his blood-red service by the Steward of Gondor? Did chasing me into the rocks of Sheddak's kin win him glory and fortune? He slew friends of mine in that pursuit, did he tell you? Has he come to Umbar Barharbel to finish the job? I say, Sirgun has already spoken with Meshka, and she's made her opinion of him very clear. He did not clap her in irons. He is not here to drag us back to Gondor in chains. Has the king not sent you, and he here to inflict his will upon us? If not, then why is Sirgun here? We decide to tell the truth. Sirgun feels the burden of his past, and he hopes to reconcile with it, if it's possible. Okay, so that's true. Let him speak these words to me himself. I'll await him at the Hungry Deep Tavern. Now begone! I would be alone with my thoughts. Okay, so, time to go to an Umbar-themed community meetup at the bar. Do people show up in costumes? Often, yes. I wouldn't say that we've ever had a player meetup where most of the crowd has been in costume, but we usually do have people in costume at the convention and meetup, or at least in some form or fashion of it. Even if it's just sort of just some armor and things. We have kinships that wear t-shirts and all that together too. That's a fairly common sight, and that's always fun to see. I will say, though, there was a very specific issue to this year's PAX East on Thursday that probably kept the costumers away, which is that it was so windy and so cold down at the Boston Seaport yesterday. Oh my god, it was so bad. Like, I thought things were going to blow away. It felt like 20 because of the high wind. It was so windy and just bitingly cold. So I think that kept some of the costumes kind of down this year because people they just couldn't. They couldn't carry their boffer gear and swords, and things would just get destroyed by the wind. So I hear it's also windy today, but not quite as bad. I hope that's true, because it's true. I didn't actually see a ton of costumes at PAX East yesterday, and I think that's why. Must not be a long commute to it for me in terms of PAX East. It actually kind of is. I don't give out my where I'm located, but I don't actually live near Boston. I live quite a ways away. It's about an hour and 20-minute drive for me to get to the Boston Convention Center.
You have seen Belongor. What did he say to you?
Yo, he wants you to say that himself. Why are you using me as a middle person, dude? The Hungry Deep Tavern overlooks the Sail Haven, but it's located in the Upper Ward. Bellandor's wife, Meshka, commanded her guards to slay me if I go there. But I would speak to him again and tell him what I have come to believe. I'm not afraid of Meshka's headsmen. I would bare my neck before them if it meant I could ease this burden. But you should totally go,
Then it is time.
too.
To the Hungry Deep we go.
We have not done a cosplay/costume contest
I
for
was
Lotro,
told my life would
but
be
it is
forfeit should I return
gonna happen
here.
someday.
But I feel
There have been a
this is
couple of
something I
years where
must
we were
do.
like, let's do it. But even if we have to pay some event contest group to do it as a thing, because it's actually a lot to do a big project like that. But then we just haven't. But I think we will at some point. We're gonna do some kind of cosplay thing at one of our meetups some year. Welcome from Australia.
So it is true. You really have come to Umbar. I did not think it could be so.
Yeah, it definitely, Boston was being very
Yet I see
Boston
many
yesterday.
strange patrons here at the Hungry Deep.
Beautiful until guests show up, and then all of a sudden it's like, what? What?
They must be friends of yours. If friendship with Seagon can yet exist.
It's wicked cold.
They are the crew of the Wave Hunter. Captain.
I don't know if this is the case in PAX West, but I will say one of the
value their
larger
friendship
booths that I
most
saw at
highly.
PAX East was
And
a Dunkin'
yet-
Donuts booth. An actual brand,
What
like
use is
Dunkin'
my
Donuts
friendship?
Donuts was doing a gamer
Those I
thing.
hold most dear come to the greatest harm.
And how Boston is that?
You would die for them, and they for you.
So they're having a
Aye.
conversation.
My own crew was the same. Though all the forces of Gondor be arrayed against us, they would stand with me against them. But Azagoth spent their lives with nary a thought.
Beneath the Makta Corbo, he worked cruel magic. They died trusting me, Sirgun. They trusted I would bring them to safety and trusted their families would know they did not die for nothing. But Azagoth spent their lives for no purpose, needless deaths, to provide only the smallest of delays so the Sea Shadow could make his escape. He didn't know those men, and he discarded them without thought. Only I am left to suffer the grief.
I'm just so tired, Seagon. For so long, my hatred consumed me. Hatred of you. Hatred of Denethor, your master. Hatred of Gondor. It wears out a man, such hatred as that.
So you have come back.
Uh-oh. Rothog's here, too. I warned your friend Sirgun not to return to the Upper Ward. Rothog has slain many who believe themselves untouchable.
The steward Denethor is dead, Meshka. Seagon came here to speak honest words with me.
Oh, I have heard his honest words. They do not excuse the hurts he and his master inflicted upon us.
No. But I have come to understand the snare in which he was caught. The The kindred of the coins was supposed to be different. We were trying to bring peace and prosperity to Umbar. Nakasi lost sight of that when she abducted the child Thorongil.
She will still pay for that crime. I have not forgotten.
And Azagoth. The man I knew would not have slain the child. Not for any reason. What changed in him to consider such reckless slaughter? So it was with the steward Denethor.
Did I give out swag at the meetup? I did.
I know not the cause, but his mind.
We didn't have any
became clouded,
new Lotro
and his
swag
heart
this
was
time.
hardened. I served Umbar, and you Gondor. When did each of them cease serving us?
But we gave out a bunch of our Before the Shadow t-shirts that we had made for, I guess it was last year's PAX East. We had quite a few of them left over. And so we were able to clear out some of the Before the Shadow shirts. And they're still cool because they've got the big ring wraith, the Nazgul on the front. And we cleared out, gosh, another 80 or 100 of those shirts, I think, so. Remain alert to what Rothar will do.
hearing, Bolondor? Does this man turn you against the kindred? Qualong! Bird!
Bird.
Qualong, it is all right.
The bird is the word.
We are not in danger. I like that bird. He is afraid of nothing.
He's a free bird. Can we offer the t-shirts online? Sadly, no. These are promotional items made for conventions. That's why we're able to do them. The kind of work that it would take to offer them for sale or distribution online would require an additional layer of licensing and merchandising rights and contracts with the various entities involved and what have you. And that sadly has not been something that we've to date been able to do. It's a passion project, a long-time passion project of mine. If it were up to me, if I could snap my fingers and make it happen, we'd be selling all sorts of swag. But it's a complex project, in fact, to be able to offer something like that. The actual setup, like, assuming you've got all the permissions and approvals and legal groundwork and contractual kind of things crossed and everything signed and approved, the actual process to sell t-shirts and that online is totally doable, because you could go through like one of those third-party t-shirt firms. So we would upload our logos and imagery and what have you. But actually getting it done at a, say, wider level to get all the licensing done is tricky. It's tricky. And to date, it's not been possible. I hope we've repaired something of the friendship we once possessed, Sirgun, but I'm not ready to say the name of that between Gondor and Umbar. The same of that between Gondor and Umbar. Your king has much to prove, for we have heard sweet words before and been deceived. The kindred will survive without Azagoth and Nakasi. It was larger than both of them. It's larger than all of us, for it is Umbar. Your king will need to realize that, if he believes there can be peace. The bird is Gwalling. He is a Limlin from across the Bay of Belfalis. I have not heard those names before. He is brave for one so small. But I came here for two reasons, to fight and fetch. I'm disappointed there's no fight, but now you will come with me. Harmalock wants to see you.
And so, you stand before
Real quick,
me
I'm going
once
to
again.
refill my coffee. I'll be back in a second. Okay. I am touched to hear the reconciliation between Belendor and the man of Gondor who has so disturbed his heart for these many years. I trust this thaw will not make him weak. Without Azathoth and Nikasi, the kindred of the coin must appear strong now, stronger than before. The people must be reassured that kindred is here for them, despite the betrayal of the Sea Shadow. I have come to a decision, and I would like to ask you for help and see it done.
We will reassure the folk of Umbar Baharbel that the peace will continue and prosperity will be theirs.
The meeting hall of Darlaha must be reopened. Its doors have been shut for too long. When you were last here, I spoke some words concerning the Sea Shadow. You have now seen what I then believed and still do. He wasn't trustworthy and owed his allegiance to some other. I think now he drew his powers and strength from forces unnatural, from He Who Sees All, from Sauron. For your part in deposing him and driving him from Umbar, you have my gratitude. Will you help me set right what Azathoth and Nikasi have disturbed? If so, speak with Jaith, who guards Darlaha here in the upper ward of the city. Alright. Well, let us do that. We just sort of walk across your fountain here. Get wet boots in your carpet. It's all good. I'm here on a mission. Did I say Rothog or Rothog? I think it should be Rothog, right? Rothog? Rothog? I don't know. I am not a Tolkien pronouncer. I do my best to not totally come across like a... I don't know. I don't know what the right word is. I can't think of the right word. I try to pronounce, but I recognize my own limits. Let me put it that way. And those limits are I can't pronounce crap. But I do my best. I'll have to, at some point in life, I'll release my book, How to Say Things Wrong the Cordo Way. Oops. Now, Chris Pearson, there's a guy who says things right. But he doesn't live stream.
Arumalak wants the meeting all opened? Oh, I don't think we can do that.
Don't misunderstand me. I would. It's just that the keys were stolen by the Airsworn. And ever since those villains ran off with the keys, we've not been able to get inside. A new lock could be fashioned, but it's not safe for us to proceed for as long as the Airsworn holds on to the keys. So, you know, I'm just saying, maybe if you get those keys, defeat Hairsworn in the Sail Haven until you find the keys to Darla. I think it's either Darlaja or Darlaha. I have no idea. Or something completely different is the other third choice. Okay, so I'm just going down and taking care of some pirates by the docks. Let's do that. That I can do. Except I want to be on the other side here. And I can take a shortcut, I think. Oink. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Ah! Okay. I'm fine. No problem. That totally worked. Okay, that's that dock, so I want to go down to... Which side? Yep, other side of the bridge. Okay. Does that count as Stampion's annual dwarf bath? Yes. Actually, I would think that dwarves would appreciate a good bath. Any culture that spends its time digging in mines and things like that is going to appreciate the value of a good bath, I would think.
The vigilant eye could not be taken by surprise, my friend.
Okay, so I'm got the hidden parcels here, but let's go down and take care of the air swarm. You know they're the air swarm because of their boots. They're all wearing Air Jordans. That's true. Beard oils are cool. So it's funny. I actually have some beard oil that I got. Yeah, I think I got it for Christmas or something, in some kind of manly bathroom box. And it's some kind of like sandalwood thing that's whatever. And I've never really used beard oil. I mean, not like I got a huge beard, but I tried putting some in, and it felt weird to have like greasy facial hair. It wasn't greasy, but it was oily, right? Because it's oil. It was weird. I didn't like it. Also, the smell got into my nose. I didn't like that either. I was like, oh my gosh, why do I smell like some kind of weirdly masculine forest? But I know it's actually, if you are one, especially if you grow out a larger beard and things, that stuff actually matters. You can't not groom your way to success in that case. It takes work. Does anyone know in particular where... Oh, here we go. There's the keys. That guy had them. Back up north. Why don't I take care of these hidden parcels while I'm at it? I don't know if I could actually grow like a certainly not a dwarven style beard. I suppose eventually I would get something. But it just doesn't seem like that's likely to be particularly successful for me. I have a friend. That friend can just kind of see if he wants to cross the bridge. Alright. So I am looking for hidden parcels along the southern waterway. Oh, so that'll be down here. Are they actually in the water this time? We had one earlier. Yep. Okay. Okay, looks like the rest are behind me. Oh, there's another one. Get off the horse. I think that the canals did take some inspiration from Venice. I could be mistaken about that, but I remember seeing during development, you know, a bunch of conceptual drawings, and some of that had references to, like, some Venetian-style thoughts. So, I think it's totally possible. What? Can't go there. Right. Just saying, it doesn't look like much of a closed gate to me. Do I really have to go all the way around? No. Yeah? Okay. I have a bunch of quest rings around here. At some point during... So my plan for the stream for the next few weeks, I think, is to... Is this right? Okay. Finish running the Chapter 8 stuff. And then I want to move on to the instances, I think. And then I want to specifically do the raid. And so I had a couple people at the meetup say, like, you know, if you want to run the raid with our kin, you know, we'd be happy to have you. And I'm sure that's true. That's awesome. But I'm specifically looking to run the raid at noon Eastern on a Friday, which I know is, depending on where you're located, a little bit of a ask, because, you know, trying to get 11 other people who don't work for SSG to be able to be available at noon on a Friday to raid with me is a little bit trickier. So I want a couple weeks to do it. I think one thing I might do is, it depends on how, I guess, I don't want to say how successful it is going to be, but it's like, well, there's a world in which it's like, alright, I hang out with a raiding kin that totally knows the raid, and we succeed and have a good time. And then there's the world where it's like, well, maybe I should just have 12 people from the forums, Discord, whatever, join me. And we sort of deliberately make it, we're just bumming around inside of the raid kind of a stream, so that you can see the raid and feel kind of invited to it without having to know what to do and be on camera and perform and all that other kind of stuff. I haven't really decided which route I prefer at this point. I think there's value to both. And I think it somewhat depends as to what I want to do is... It's going to be a few weeks yet, right? Because I've got this to do and the instances to do, and then I want to do the raid, and then I want to do, like, the delvings and stuff, and then I'll finish up Allegiance quests and that until the next piece of content comes up. Or reputation stuff and that. So I think it'll be a few weeks, and I think what I'll probably end up doing is just put out word on the forum and have a thing with 12 blank slots and be like, hey, are you interested? If you're interested, let me know. And see what happens. And if we get 12 names, we'll roll with that. So this is a case where Europe is at a slight advantage because they're, at the moment, 5 hours ahead of us, but typically 6 hours ahead of us until the end of the month because of the offset on daylight saving time. But normally, my noon would be their 5, 6 p.m., which is perhaps a little more doable on a Friday. So, and that might be fun too. I mean, if everyone's from Europe that wants to run with me, that'd be great. Class this raid up. That's what that would do. There you are.
What are these? The keys to the meeting hall of Darlaja?
Ooh, Darlaja? Darlaja? The last I heard, these were in the hands of the Airsworn. Yeah, well, you know. I am to fashion a new lock and key for Darlaja, so it can be reopened. These are very surprising tidings, both welcome and unwelcome, if you understand me. I recently lost an apprentice, but there's just as much work as ever. And, yeah, I got some stuff I might need you to do. Like, more. Oops. Bathing. Alright, here we go. Oh. Right.
It will take some time for everything to be ready, but I hope when all is prepared, you will return to us.
And there we go. The story continues in a future update. It will take some time for everything to be ready, but I hope when all is prepared, you will return to us, my new friend. It will be a new dawn for Umbar, and let none doubt the days of sunshine that lie before us. Alright, so let's, we have now completed the new epic book. Let's take a bath and wrap up the last few minutes of the stream. What server? It would be on Landreval. So it depends, Martin, as to where you're from, right? So if Europe has multiple time zones, but typically for our French and German players, they're on the same time zone, and that is CET, CEST, and or MEZ, MESZ, depending on the language. At the moment, though, we've already sprung forward for daylight saving time, and Europe doesn't do it until, I think, March 31st, right? So, at the moment, we're up an hour compared to Europe. And so there's a 5-hour gap instead of a typically 6-hour gap to France and Germany. But then, pretty soon, they'll spring forward too, and then we'll be back to our regular 6 hours. I agree, Orion Eternal. I dislike daylight saving time with a passion. I was a radio news reporter, and I guess it was about 2004 to 2006, sometime in there, when the state of Indiana had one of the craziest political debates they've had in decades about, because Indiana was one of the lone holdouts on daylight saving time, and they decided to join it. And that was probably a week's worth of legislative gamesmanship. It was quite the process. But I became a little bit of a... I did a lot of deep diving into daylight saving time as a result of the work that I was doing as a reporter then. And it's pretty interesting. I am very much against, I think, daylight saving time in general. The whole idea of changing clocks is kind of silly. So... I don't know if the professor's up next. Oh, yes, Corey will be here next. However, Druid's Fire will not be here due to being at PAX East. Yeah. I tell that story too often? Maybe I do. Alright, well, we got a couple minutes left, so let's see. What do we... Anything we should kind of mention here before I wrap up the show? I have a programming note for you. So next Wednesday, we have our next casual stroll with Scenario. That'll be Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Now, I believe I just got the topic this morning. So let me real quick look that up. Where Scenario is going to be going. Yeah, we're going to Ithilien and Osgiliath. So a casual stroll through Ithilien and Osgiliath will be on Wednesday, next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/LotraStream. Thanks everyone for being here today. I really appreciate you joining me for the show. I'll be back next Friday with more. And, yeah, till then, have a great time. Have a good weekend.